Hi everyone, this is Heather Lottanen from the Flourish.Academy, where our goal is to empower, educate, and elevate you to create a life that you love through the art and business of photography. In this video, we are going to look at noise reduction inside of Lightroom. But first, make sure you check out our sponsor, ymcamera.com, for all of your photography needs. We're going to look at 3 very different photos shot in different situations and with different ISO settings. I'm going to press D in order to access the develop module. I have left all of my EXIF data on these images for you to see. In this case, I took this photograph at ISO 4000. We were in a courthouse. We were not allowed to use flash, so those are the settings that I selected. So let's take a look at the detail panel. Now I zoomed in at a 1:1 ratio because you will not be able to see these changes when you are zoomed out at full view. Let's begin by taking the luminance noise reduction, which is noise that is created from lights and darks, all the way up to 100. Now you'll notice what Lightroom does essentially is blur the edges of those pixels at 100%. But I would never recommend taking this slider to 100 as it tends to make the photo look a little bit like a cartoon. Also, I would like you to hold down Alt or Option on your keyboard and move this slider. And what you'll notice is that Lightroom temporarily changes this to a black and white image so that you can see that noise reduction a little bit better. The detail slider is really about smoothing those detailed edges. And again, I'm going to hold down Alt or Option on my keyboard, and it will give us that black and white view in order to see what's really happening in the photograph. When you adjust the contrast, holding down Alt or Option, what's happening is that Lightroom is looking at individual pixels, and it's either adding contrast to those pixels or reducing it. Typically, I like to have this number pretty low. I don't see any color noise in this image. You would know what it looks like because it would look like pixels with different colors. You typically only see that at incredibly high ISOs, so there really isn't anything we need to do there, which means we also do not need to look at the detail and smoothness. You would use these sliders if you see color noise in your photograph. Let's look at the before and after. I'm going to zoom in even more at 3:1. I don't recommend this because I'm not usually a pixel peeper, but I want you to be able to really see this difference before and after. And I think that that looks pretty good. But there's something you have to know about noise reduction in Lightroom. If you're going to reduce noise, you should also sharpen because you don't want to lose those edges. So let's take a look at how that can impact the photo. Hold down Alt or Option on your keyboard and turn the sharpening all the way up and you can see what's happening, or all the way down. I'm actually going to turn that up pretty high and I'll show you why in just a moment. Radius is about how far out that sharpening reaches. Again, I'm holding down Alt or Option so I can see exactly where it's impacting those edges. Do you want to sharpen the detail? If so, take it all the way to 100. But usually you don't. You want to keep this number fairly low. Masking is my favorite part about the sharpening panel. Holding down Alt or Option and pulling will show you this view. Wherever you see black, Lightroom will not sharpen those pixels. And wherever you see white, it will. This is incredibly handy because what I'd like to do is turn this masking way up so that I only sharpen the edges. I don't want to sharpen the detail in the wall or in skin, so I'm going to pull that up pretty high. And this is a typical setting for me with that masking up really high. Now, if I look at the before and after, I have the smoothing of the pixels, but I also have the sharpening of the edges. Don't freak out. We are zoomed in significantly. If we fit the image and look at the before and after, well, you can see a little bit, but not too much. Let's zoom in on his face at 3:1 and see the before and after. With that knowledge, let's take a look at this photo. It was shot at ISO 12,800. This is a photographer friend of mine, and largely we were just experimenting, but there's definitely a lot of grain in this image. So let's take that noise reduction up as far as we're comfortable. The detail I'm going to leave at 50 and the contrast I'm going to leave pretty low. Let's look at the before and after. And again, I want to sharpen this image because I'm blurring pixels with noise reduction. I'm going to hold down Alt or Option, pull up on that, pull significantly on the mask until I just see edges. And there's the before and after. When I zoom out and I look at the before and after, I've noticed that I've lost some detail in her hair, so I'm going to back off on the noise reduction just a little bit here. Let's take a look at this final image. A friend of mine sent this to me. She shoots with a Canon 5D Mark III. This was shot at ISO 8000. I'm zooming in again to look at the shadow areas where you will notice the digital noise. Let's pull up on this noise reduction, leave the other settings the same, pull up on the sharpening, up on the masking significantly, and take a look at the before and after. Now, the reason I did that so quickly is once you start to play with noise reduction and sharpening in Lightroom, you'll actually get pretty quick and adept at what settings work for what images. It would be very difficult to create a preset that would work on every image, but to be honest, I actually don't do that much noise reduction to my photos because it doesn't bother me. Stay tuned because in the next video, we're going to look at reducing noise inside of Photoshop.